Welcome to our wonderful world, MV, where we explore a wide range of topics to help you learn something new every day. In this video, we'll be taking a deep dive into insert topic and uncovering everything you need to know about this fascinating subject. And this video was See It, the Unsolved Mystery, Detective Williams's Quest for Justice. Okay, let's get into the video. Detective James Williams had been called to the scene of a murder in a wealthy suburb. The victim was a prominent businessman, with no known enemies, and no obvious motive for the killing. The only clue left behind was a single playing card, the ace of spades, left on the victim's chest. As Williams examined the scene, he noticed something odd. The victim's watch had stopped at exactly 11:11. And then he realized that this wasn't the first time he had seen this. Two previous murders, both with a playing card left on the victim, had occurred at the same time, 11:11. Williams knew he was dealing with a serial killer, one who had a meticulous attention to detail. But he couldn't figure out the significance of the playing cards or the time of the murders. As he dug deeper, Williams discovered that all three victims had been involved in a high-stakes poker game, hosted by a shadowy figure known only as the dealer. The game was played every Friday night at a different location, and only a select group of wealthy players were invited to attend. Williams realized that he needed to go undercover to catch the killer. He posed as a wealthy businessman and was able to secure an invitation to the next poker game. As the night wore on, the tension in the room grew, as players lost huge sums of money. And then, at precisely 11:11, the lights went out. When they came back on, one of the players was dead, with the ace of spades left on his chest. Williams sprang into action, identifying the killer and bringing him to justice. But the mystery of the playing cards and the significance of 11:11 remained a mystery, one that haunted Williams for years to come. Months after the arrest of the serial killer, Detective Williams received a strange envelope in the mail. Inside, he found a single playing card, the ace of spades, along with a cryptic message. The game continues. Williams was shaken by the message, unsure if it was a threat or a taunt from the killer he had put away. He decided to investigate further, determined to uncover the true meaning behind the playing cards and the time of the murders. His investigation led him to a hidden underground poker club, where he discovered that the dealer was not just a person, but a group of high-level individuals who controlled the world of high-stakes gambling. They were responsible for the murders, using them as a way to eliminate those who threatened their power. Williams realized that he was in over his head, but he refused to back down. He teamed up with a group of rogue gamblers who had been cheated by the dealer, and together, they hatched a plan to take down the organization once and for all. As they worked to bring down the dealer, Williams discovered that the significance of 11:11 was a signal to their members that a murder was about to take place. The playing cards were a way to identify the victim and mark them as a target. After a thrilling showdown with the members of the dealer, Williams emerged victorious, and the group was dismantled for good. But the mystery of the playing cards and the time of the murders remained etched in Williams's mind, a reminder of the dangers that lurked in the world of high-stakes gambling. Despite the downfall of the dealer, Detective Williams remained haunted by the unanswered questions surrounding the murders. He couldn't shake the feeling that there was something more to the story, something he had missed. Months went by with no new leads, until one day, Williams received a call from an anonymous tipster. The caller claimed to have information about the playing cards and the time of the murders. Skeptical but intrigued, Williams arranged to meet the tipster in a deserted alleyway. As he approached, he saw a figure in the shadows, holding a single playing card. It was the ace of spades. Suddenly, the figure stepped forward into the light, revealing himself to be the son of one of the victims. He explained that his father had discovered a plot by the dealer to rig the high-stakes poker games in their favor, and had threatened to expose them. In response, the dealer had orchestrated the murders as a warning to anyone who dared to cross them. The son had been digging into his father's investigation, and had uncovered evidence of a secret code used by the dealer to communicate with their members. The code involved the playing cards and the time of the murders, and had been used to coordinate their operations for years. With this new information, Williams was finally able to solve the mystery of the playing cards and the time of the murders. He arrested several more members of the dealer, and the organization was completely dismantled. As for Williams, he finally had the closure he had been seeking. He was hailed as a hero for taking down one of the most powerful criminal organizations in the country, and he knew that his father, who had been a detective before him, would have been proud. But he also knew that the world was full of secrets and conspiracies, and he couldn't help but wonder what other mysteries were waiting to be uncovered. As Detective Williams reflected on the case, he realized that the experience had changed him. He had always been driven to solve mysteries and catch criminals, but now he felt a deeper sense of purpose. He decided to start a new division within the police force, one that focused on uncovering and dismantling criminal organizations that operated in the shadows. He recruited a team of detectives and analysts who shared his passion for justice, and together, they worked to root out corruption and expose the truth. Their work was difficult and often dangerous, but it was also deeply rewarding. They made a difference in the lives of countless people who had been victimized by organized crime, and they brought a sense of justice to a world that often seemed dark and unjust. Years went by, and Detective Williams eventually retired from the force. But his legacy lived on, in the work of the division he had founded and the countless lives he had touched. As he looked back on his career, he felt a sense of pride and fulfillment. He had solved some of the most complex and challenging mysteries of his time, and he had made a real difference in the world. And he knew that there were many more mysteries waiting to be solved, and many more people who needed his help. With a smile on his face and a sense of satisfaction in his heart, Detective Williams walked off into the sunset, ready to take on whatever challenges lay ahead. As Detective Williams walked off into the sunset, he couldn't help but think about all the mysteries that still remained unsolved in the world. He knew that there were countless people out there who were suffering at the hands of criminal organizations, and he couldn't rest until justice was served. With a renewed sense of purpose, Williams continued to work behind the scenes, using his knowledge and experience to help law enforcement agencies around the world. He became a consultant, advising detectives and analysts on how to solve the most complex cases and dismantle criminal organizations. His work brought him to every corner of the globe, from the slums of Mumbai to the high-rises of Manhattan. He worked tirelessly, often sacrificing his own safety to bring criminals to justice. Despite the danger and the challenges, Williams never lost sight of his goal. He knew that the work he was doing was making a difference in the world, and that was all the motivation he needed. As he approached the end of his life, Williams felt a sense of satisfaction knowing that he had dedicated his life to fighting for what was right. He had made a real difference in the world, and he knew that his legacy would live on long after he was gone. And so, with a smile on his face and a sense of peace in his heart, Detective Williams closed his eyes for the final time, content in the knowledge that he had lived a life of purpose and meaning. As Williams took his final breath, he felt a sense of peace wash over him. He had dedicated his life to fighting for justice and solving mysteries, and he knew that his work had made a difference in the world. As news of his passing spread, tributes poured in from around the world. Law enforcement agencies and organizations he had worked with over the years hailed him as a hero, praising his unwavering dedication and commitment to justice. But perhaps the most touching tributes came from the people whose lives Williams had touched directly. Families of victims he had helped bring justice for, fellow detectives who had worked alongside him, and even some former criminals who had turned their lives around after working with Williams all shared stories of how he had made a difference in their lives. As they laid Williams to rest, his family and friends knew that his legacy would live on. His passion for justice and his commitment to making the world a better place would inspire countless others to follow in his footsteps, continuing the work he had started so many years ago. And so, as they said their final goodbyes, they did so with a sense of gratitude and respect for a man who had lived his life with purpose and meaning, and who had made the world a better place for all who knew him. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more educational content. And if you have any questions or suggestions for future topics, be sure to let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.